How we doing today? I have arrived. That's right. What's going on? Good morning. Or good afternoon for some of you, depending on where you're trading from today. I'm doing good. Things are good. I got into MP this morning on this dip. If you see MP here on the 130, we're coming down into this sort of large VP chunk right here. We're coming in to test that, and hopefully going to get a bounce off of there. So I picked some of those up. And then another thing I'm also still in is Ion Q, or some earnings series. They're taking a little bit of heat today, but I'm in the earnings series and waiting for a bounce. I mean, the whole market's taking a little bit of a little bit of heat today. So I'm not in a whole lot because I have been. It's been a busy couple of weeks. The month of July has been a busy month for me. Lots of travel, lots of events, etc. So, but I've been playing these 15-minute opening range breakouts. Today's worked out great. I know a lot of you were in that with me. If anybody has any questions on those, I saw yesterday there were a lot of questions on the opening range breaks and kind of how to play those. But they've been working great. They're not sexy. They're just tried and true high profitability trades. So you're not hitting big massive winners, but they're a nice little income trade you can make every single day. Yeah, right. Making money is sexy. So there's that, but you're not posting in chat, oh, big 1,000% winner or whatever. They're just a daily hit that you can learn to take. And if you're new, they're a great way to learn how to sort of manage your emotions, get in and out of trades, stuff like that. Figuring out when to stop out. There's some very clear rules, and they're a good trade for beginners. No, Joey, I await the 5-minute, right? So on today, so the lines here are 15-minute range. This is a little indicator that just puts them in there for me. You can also wait for the 15-minute candle to close and then just mark the high and the low. That's also easy. And so today's entry, where's my drawing tool? I seem to be missing my drawing tool. There we go. Today's entry was here on the close of that candle. Sometimes you can wait, if you feel like it's moved a little bit too far, you can wait and try and get a back test, which today we got, right? We got our break down, right? So breaking down, I took a call credit spread. I took the 64 10s and bought the 64 15s behind them. And, a lot of times you'll get, an initial breakdown, right? But then it'll come back and retest the breakdown area and then roll further, or vice versa. So you can also, if you're real cautious, you can wait to get in then, but then there'll be some that you'll miss because it'll just kind of go without you. But if you look at, so I waited for that 5-minute candle, that first 5-minute candle to break, and then I got in the spread. If we go back to yesterday, this is a 5-minute chart, right? So it took until quite a bit later in the day for this to actually break. And some of the questions, some people were taking put credit spreads to the long side on that little candle wick, right? Because it did break above that 15-minute opening range break. But there were a couple things that were happening. One, our 5-minute candle didn't close above that. And as we were breaking above that, the ticks over here were just kind of hanging low, right? And then on top of that, and I'm building a new 50-minute opening range break chart where it gives us the vold right below it, and it was breaking to the high side just ever so slightly yesterday, right? But the ticks were kind of low, not really doing much, so it didn't look like it was really going to break hard. And the Vold was also like all the way down at like -2 at the time. So both of those things, I didn't get into that. I waited until this break here, and then it kind of took a while to materialize after that. Yesterday was a slower day in that sense, but that's kind of how you play those, right? So you don't get caught on a little wick up. Sometimes it'll go up, it'll close, it'll push a little bit, and then it'll turn on you. No strategy or edge is 100%, but there's some things you can do to help sort of mitigate that. How do you get out of 100% stop if there is a flush or a pop against you? Um, the the best way I can say is, I mean, if you get a really violent pop on some news, it's hard, right? So sometimes you're going to be a little over 100%. In one case, a couple of days ago, this case here. So on this day, we were playing a opening range break to the downside, right? It didn't quite take us out. It came pretty close. And based on the way everything felt, as you can see at that time, the Vold was plus 2.5 or higher. And so this dip here below the opening range felt, I was a little scary. Things just weren't quite lining up right, and I almost took it off near these lows, for less than 50% of the credit, but I didn't. And so, as this thing started to drift back up and back up, it wasn't looking great. And a couple things you can do: you can put a stop limit in at 100%. If it starts to look like it's heading against you, right, you've usually got your profit target in, but if it doesn't take you out and it looks like it's starting to go against you, you could put a stop limit if you couldn't watch it. But what happened was we got some tariff news here that popped us up and pushed past the 100% stop loss mark. I'm not saying it's right there, but it pushed past that. But I waited for it to come back into this a little bit, to retrace, and then I was able to take it off for slightly less than the 100% stop loss. So, but as it starts, so when it's going in your direction, you have your profit target in. But if it's really starting to leak against you and you're worried about it, you can put a stop limit order in, and if it takes you out, it takes you out, right? But the thing with these is you really want to make sure that you're managing your risk on the stop loss side, because really, let's say you're getting a $1 credit on average for these, your risk then is $4 per contract, and so if you don't stop out at $2, you've got another $2 to go. In loss, which can really devastate a P&L or a win-loss. Well, a P&L, because your win-losses stay the same, but your P&L gets smashed on the full loser. Does that make sense? So it just takes managing them. I would, for those who are new to it, I would trade them with small size. So that's one contract, or you can even go over and do it on the SPY for $1 wide. And just learn at very little risk what the mechanics are of taking off the profit how that feels. How do you stop out when you have a loser? And you've got to trade 10 to 20 of these things to even have two or three losers. So you've really got to spend some time trading them to figure out what's the best way for you to exit these. Because like I just said, if you're going for a dollar credit and you're risking 4, if you don't know how to exit these properly at your stop loss, then you're just you could even have a 75-80% win rate, and you're just going to be flat on your P&L. Does that make sense? Stop me from taking the ORB trade. What's interesting is if I know there's going to be big news early in the day, and I usually check FinViz and the market, what's coming out in the daily market news, to see, like, today could have been a problem with stuff coming out at 10 o'clock, but it didn't, right? So jolts, yeah. So sometimes that can happen. This here was basically Trump tariff news. We did not know that was coming. So that one was a little difficult to catch. But a lot of times, you just don't want to be, if you're still in a trade, and it's getting into the Fed announcement on a Wednesday, maybe not the best time to be in it. Either take your profit or stop out or whatever. But it's also kind of dependent on the type of, where the trade is at the time the news should be coming out. At near all-time highs, which we're at, I usually will kind of size down a little bit, so that if we get a little whipsaw, I'm not heavy in size. But normally, no, I'll take these every day. I mean, the big things that will keep me from taking them are, I have to go do something, and it hasn't triggered yet. Stuff like that. Like, I've had days like that. Like this month, I've only probably traded half of them because I was traveling. I've had some other things going on at home, some appointments, this and that. And I don't want to just take one and walk away from it because of the risk involved, right? So if I know I can't be here to manage it, I won't take it. Yeah, you can put stops on spreads. Just don't put it in as a limit order unless you're trying to take profit, or you're trying to get out of it right there. If you need to walk away from it for a minute, you can put a stop limit order in, and give it a little bit of room too in case there's movement. And don't be upset if it gets kind of near that and you get taken out, because the spreads are they can be pretty wide sometimes as price fluctuates, so you can get stopped out. It does not show Vizsla. It does not show the parameters that it's using. So, and this Volt ratio isn't available anymore, by the way, in TradingView. So, whoever the person is that offered it has stopped offering it. I might try and recreate it, and then just offer it on TradingView for free myself, because I know so many people would like to use it. And if you don't copy my chart, you can't use it. Or if you're trying to use it in something else like TC2000, then it's hard to recreate. Today I took the 6410s, 6415s. So I took a downside, a bearish bet, and I sold the 64.10s and bought the 64.15s behind it. Their call credit spread. Joey, yeah, that's a good strategy too. I mean, there's a number of ways to play these. You can play them with long calls and puts. You can play them with credit spreads. I like the credit spreads because then theta is working in your favor. I like to sell those. So there's kind of two ways you can profit or get to your profit target. King Fib, the Vold value right now is right here on the chart. It's 2.09 to be exact. Shiri, yeah, the call credit spread is a bearish bet, right? So I'm selling the 64.10 strike, and I'm buying the 64.15 behind it for protection. And we just has to move either down or sideways because of the sold strike, right? If theta works in my favor, and I'm getting a credit. So today I got, what did I get? I think I got $1.25 per contract, and then I bought them back at 60 cents, right? So it's about a little over 50%, right? And that's the profit. And if now these would be worth, you can probably buy these back for 20. And if I had let it go this far, I would probably be just letting it go to zero, and I'd take the full $1.25 per contract credit. The same thing in reverse. So if we're breaking to the upside, you're gonna sell a credit, like let's say we're breaking up this way, right? The 6400, and then buy the 63.95 behind it. And you buy them together, right? So you don't buy one and then or sell one and then buy the other. You do them as you are selling a vertical spread. Yeah, of course. It's only you're gonna have toss. You're gonna need to have toss in order to do that. But we'll go. I'll show you how I do that. Let's see. Okay, so let me share this real quick. Make sure no information's showing that I don't want to show. Okay, so if we're looking at the SPX, sorry, let's do this. 0 DTE, SPX, right? And right down here, let's say I want to sell the 63. Well, let's say we're going to do a bounce play, okay? I'm not recommending this trade, but let's just say we were going to, we've got the 63.90s. Let's say, well, let's make it even more realistic. Okay, so 63.65s, which we'd be selling a put credit spread. Okay, so let's say we think it's not going to go any lower than today's low, and it's only going to go either up or sideways. All right. So if today's low was, down here at 63, 68-ish, right? I'm going to say, okay, well, I am going to sell the 63.65, 63.65, and buy the 63.60 behind it, right? These are puts. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to open back up my window here with the 0 DTEs. Don't mind the minus ones, right? So if I go to the 63.65 puts, right? This is the 63.65 put right here. I'm going to right click that and I'm going to sell a vertical, okay? And you'll see down here, it'll sell a vertical, you know, pump it up to 10 or whatever, or 5 or what, you know, whatever you want to, however many total you want to sell, right? I'm selling 5 of the 63.65s and buying the 63.60s behind them. I'm going to get roughly $1 credit right now. It's 90.95. And then I just hit confirm and send, right? And then it'll tell me that my max profit, if I'm buying 5, will be, let's say it fills for $1, will be 500, right? And well, if we, here, let's make it even easier. If I just buy 1, right? My max profit will be $1 or $1.05 or whatever per contract, which will be $100. And then my max risk will be the spread difference there. So if it fills for $1, my max risk will be $4 per contract, which is $400 if I'm only taking 1 contract. But you see how that changes. You know, if you start going to 5 contracts, you know, then you start risking significantly more money, just total dollar value, right? I mean, the risk is always going to be that 1 to 5 or whatever, but or in this case 1 to 4, but you're because you're buying multiple contracts, that's when you get into, you know, some potential size issues. Does that make sense? I am recording this session, Shiri. And so it depends on your trading platform, how you're going to position that, right? You know, how you're going to sell a vertical. Every position or every trading platform is slightly different, but you know, you're either gonna pull down, sell a spread, sell a vertical spread. You have to make sure that you're selling it, not buying it, because if you buy it, then you're now in a debit spread, so you're not going to get a credit. Debit spread would still work, but you would want to make sure that you were buying the right side of that. Yeah, so you know, the counterintuitive thing is a put credit spread. The key is credit, right? Which means you're selling the higher strike. A put credit spread is a bullish bet, and a call credit spread is a bearish bet, right? And so that's where people get confused, is because, you know, normally buying a put, you're betting that the underlying is going to go down, and if you're buying a call, you're betting that the underlying is going up. But by saying credit spread, now you're selling a call, right? And you're selling a put, which it has the opposite effect. And that's where a lot of people get get confused. Okay, any more questions on the opening range break? We can move on to maybe trying to find something to trade on a TPS style. And I've got kind of a short window today to be on, so I'm gonna have to jump off here in about 20 minutes. Yeah, you can do them on anything. The reason I do SPX is because they has zero DTE options, which most indices do now. But it is a cash settled vehicle, which means I can let the options just expire at the end of the day if I'm at max profit, or even if, God forbid, I'm at max loss. I'm not worried about any kind of assignment because you can't get assigned XPX or XSP, which is 1/10 the XPX. There's tax advantages. 60%, the 60% of your and please talk to a accountant about this. You can also chat GPT or Google this. But on the XPX and the XSP, profit wise, 60% is taxed at long-term gain, right? Which depending on who you are is a much lower percentage. And 40% is taxed as like a day trader's short-term gain, right? So you get there, which is, I can't remember what that is. Let's just say it's 35-40%. So there's just some tax advantages to trading the SPX, and there's some convenience advantages. But make sure that you talk to a CPA who understands trading, and don't take my word for that, because I am not a CPA. I am not licensed to give any tax advice. You can Google the information that I just put up there and read it for yourself, but there are tax advantages there. So that's why I personally use that. Yeah, I like the cash settled nature of it, because sometimes on a day like today would have been a great day. The internals weren't exactly showing a full trend down day when I took the trade. But sometimes you'll get a day where the Vold and the advanced decline and the ticks are all showing. Most likely you're going to have a trend day. And on those days when I put it on, I won't put in a quick profit limit order. I will sit back and try and let that go and expire for the full credit, right? And with an XPX or XSP cash settle option, I can just do that, and I'm not worried about anything, right? I can leave my computer and just let it expire. And so I use those a lot for iron condors and stuff like that, iron butterflies, because you can just put those on and let them expire at the end of the day. You don't have to worry about taking them off to get your profit. What's my take on the Qs today? I mean, they're doing the same thing that the SPY and the other indices are doing, and we're getting a pull today. So that's my take. We've all done the same. They've all done the same thing. Qs, the SPY, SPX. They've hit new highs and they've pulled back. Profit taking. So that's my take. Will we get a bounce? I have no idea. So we check and see if we can find a couple of things to do, maybe. Let's see. See if we can find a trade setup. And like D-Man said, I'm also being a little cautious today. So, and this week. So unless I find something that I really like, I'll probably be taking it easy. Hymns. A lot of things are really close to, yeah. A lot of things are close to earnings. So just kind of, unless there looks like there's a good run into earnings candidate, I don't want to get caught. Man, this thing has been all over the place. I bet that's CVX monthly. How's it look? Man, what a great chart. That CVX monthly chart just looks fantastic. That's definitely a long-term play. Let's go back to 30 minutes. Let's see, what else do we have? Disney? No. Fine. I just don't see anything that I just, that I just have to have right now. Yeah, CVLT could be a nice day 2 play. How are the options on that? Pretty awful. Unplayable, to be exact. So you'd have to do that with the underlying stock. Yeah, I was looking at Google. Kawhi, yeah, I take puts from time to time. Ooh, yeah, Google. A little extended at the moment. Needs a pullback for me. But I do like it. What would you like to know about RSP? What are you looking at it for? S&P 500 equal weight ETF. I have no thoughts. It's an ETF based on the S&P. It's not a ticker I would be trading. I mean, I don't know what the advantage is to playing this over the SPY or the XPS. I mean, it's an ETF, and it's based on the S&P. Is it a D-man trade? Okay. Oh, I did miss the question. So what is the max loss on the example of the put credit spread that you mentioned? 635, 6350. No, it wouldn't be 1390. I mean, unless you're buying a number of them. It's a $5 wide spread, right? So your your risk, if your credit was 190, would be 310 per contract. Does that make sense? Because this is a $5 wide spread, and if your credit was 190, meaning a $1.90, then your risk would be 310 per contract. Oh, did you do a 15 spread? Oh, yeah, I don't know. You'd have to do the math on that. Just calculate it. It's not hard. Your system will also tell you, right? You know, if you can analyze it, you can do risk reward on it, you can but if you just calculate yourself, so it's 15 wide. That seems fairly close. Yeah, the reason I didn't catch that was 15 wide was because the example that I was citing was a $5 wide. And I didn't read your question close enough. Okay, let's see if we can find anything on Sam. See if there's anything to do. If not, it might just be a data. Go do something else. Let's see, let's look at some 78-minute squeezes. Whoa. FTNT. Let's see. Yeah, I was looking at that just the other day. Not that interested. Let's see. Just a lot with SPG 78. Yeah, there's nothing that really I feel like I have to be in right now. Walter, you doing a sniper there on the SPY? It's not a bad play. Forming a little W. Go get it. Good luck. Okay, y'all. I do like this coil, daily coil here on Bitcoin. Love to see it pop. I'm gonna jump off, but I'll be around. I'll be around all week, doing some snipers and obviously the ORBs, and then also hoping that that these TPS plays play out for me over the next. They're both earning series, so MP's an earning series. I've got the August 8ths. And IonQ, I also have the August 8th for, because their earnings are the week of, one's August 7th, one's August 6th, so they're during that week. No problem. There you go, Sugar Doc. Yeah, make sure to Google that or talk to us, CPA to make sure I have that correct. I don't want to be giving. I am not in a position to give tax advice, but that's why I like to play the XPX. I will talk to everyone a bit later. Okay.